relationship between component of audit risk. And when you plan and perform the assessment of the risk, okay, you must be exercise the professional skepticism and professional judgment. Okay, professional skepticism. So, and when you want to exercise it, the professional skepticism or the questioning in mind. Okay, normally the questioning in mind is relates to the audit evidence that contradict, where you find out that certain item need to more investigation. And next, you also learn on the professional judgment. So why the professional judgment is important? So why you need the professional judgment and assessing the risk. And other than that, you also learn on the business risk. Okay, why you need to know the business risk? Because it normally affect the inherent risk and control risk of the company. So you need to assess, okay, what kind of business risk appear in the company, and what is the impact of that business risk to the risk of material misstatement. Then you have assessing the risk of material misstatement. There are 4 steps. Okay, first you have to identify the risk. Second, relate the risk to what can go wrong at the exertion level. Consider whether the risks are of a magnitude that could result a misstatement. So, and the last one, you consider the likelihood of the risk causing a material misstatement. So there are 4 steps in assessing the risk of material misstatement. And I hope you really understand the case study given in your book, page 90, and the question given in page 91. Okay, and you learn also the last part in for the previous class on the significant risk. So why the significant risk is important? So this is the area where you have to put extra investigation or extra detail of audit test. Okay, extra detail of audit test. So mean that when you determine the extent of audit test later in the audit planning, so you already have what kind of risk, okay, that the auditor should focus, or the auditor should perform more tests. Okay, so in order for you to get sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. So the following example which relates to inherent risk, where you should put it in the significant risk, is in terms of the complexity of the business, subjectivity of the accounting estimate. Okay, and then you have to know, okay, read and know the detail of example on complexity, subjectivity, the changes in economic condition, market, customer loss, and so on. Uncertainty, okay, arise, okay, regarding the court case and so on. Okay, and also management bias or fraud risk. Okay, so maybe they will ask you in terms of the situation. So dia akan, mungkin lah sebab soalan ni tak pernah keluar lagi, so maybe they may ask you on, okay, which are not a condition, okay, which are not the condition of the inherent risk to be considered as a significant risk. Okay, so that are the kind of questions targeted lah, okay, for when you have the example like that. Okay, so that we have covered in part 1 to part 5 in the risk assessment. Any problem before we go to the rest? How you are going to respond to the risk assessment? Ada masalah tak? You clear?
Clear, madam.
Okay, good. but I scared you are not clear what I said. Okay, now we go to the last part. Okay, last part kan. Okay, number 6. Okay, responding to risk. Yeah, I share the screen. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, today orange. Okay, responding to risk. Okay, today is 22. How you are going to respond to the risk? Okay, when you already assess the risk, okay, from the 4 steps just now, you already determine, okay, which area is a significant risk. Okay, so okay, so you already determine the risk, okay, whether it is inherent risk, okay, or control risk. So this is the risk involved at the assertion level, okay, at the assertion level. Okay, so you already determine. So this is doing during this stage, okay, interim audit. Okay, so you have 2 stages, one interim and another one is final audit. Okay, so this risk, okay, okay, will be happen or appear during the assertion level. So interim during interim audit, so you will assess the risk of material misstatement. Okay, MM is material misstatement. Okay, so once you have identified the inherent risk, okay, so inherent risk sometimes maybe is a significant risk where the auditor have to set a detailed test letter. So let's say you have the example of the condition complexity, okay, so let's say the complexity of the transaction. So that are the examples of the inherent risk, okay? And okay, it will affect the risk. It will affect the preparation of the financial statement. So given in the case of the brown coal, where we have looked at last class, where brown coal has already lost customer due to perceived quality issue. So in this case, the company might have wrongly valuation of the inventory. So that is the example of the significant risk also. Okay, katalah I take this inventory as an example because this is a simple example rather than complexity of the transaction, because you not learn and finish yet on your the audit, so we don't know yet what is the meaning of complexity of the transaction in detail. So but inventory you have go through during your accounting. So I put the inherent risk here is the inventory, where the inventory may be overvalued or undervalued by the company. So you already determine the inventories as a significant risk. Okay, how you are going to respond to this kind of risk? Okay, when you talk about response of the risk, okay, how you are going to respond? Okay, so to respond, you have two situation of responses to respond this kind of risk tadi, inherent risk or control risk. Okay, you have to divide into two responses. Okay, one is considered as overall response. And another response is further detail audit procedure. Okay, what is it mean on overall response? Okay, overall response, okay, we go to the line. Okay, what is overall response? Okay, first we have to know, okay, what is objective of ISA 330. Okay, the auditor's responses to assess risk is to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding the assessed risk of material misstatement through designing and implementing appropriate responses to those risks. Okay, so objective here, okay, to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Okay, why you need to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding the assessed risk? Okay, any idea? Christina? What is your idea? Why you need to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence?
So that
We know that
there's no material misstatement.
There's no material misstatement. Okay, so and what is the result after that?
Sorry, madam.
What is when you are going to achieve sufficient appropriate audit evidence because you are going to test all the material misstatement, right? So what is the effect? What is the last effect when you have satisfied on the audit evidence?
True and fair view of financial statement.
Okay, fair view of the financial statement, or you try to reduce the audit risk, right? Is it agree, Christina?
I agree, madam.
Okay. So that is the result because we now in the assessing the risk. So you have to reduce, okay, the audit risk. So remember what is your okay. Okay, your audit risk model. Okay, inherent risk times control risk times detection risk. Okay, so now you have to, okay, how you are going to respond to this kind of risk? Okay, you are going to respond to overall risk and you are going to respond to the detailed testing. So objective is same. So you are going to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Okay, so it's related to the audit risk here. So you have, okay, what is actually the end objective is to reduce the audit risk. So auditor can try to reduce or try to avoid to issue the inappropriate audit evidence when the financial statements are materially misstated. So you try to get obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence here, and you put or you perform more tests. You perform more tests. So that is the meaning of that objective. Okay, clear class? Mira, okay? Mira?
Okay, madam.
Okay? Clear tak?
Clear.
Okay, good. So, in other words, having assessed the risk of material statement in the financial statement, the auditor has to plan. Sebab itu lepas ni kita belajar on audit planning. So, you must be able to plan the work that will be carried out to ensure that he or she can give an opinion that the financial statement give a true and fair view, and that is that any material misstatement has been identified and amended if necessary. So when you already identify the risk of material misstatement in the interim audit tadi, you have to put it under significant risk, and you identify first, and then you amend if necessary. Means how you are going to amend means you have to perform the test, perform the test, and when the result you identify that the result is significant, then you discuss with management to amend the financial statement. So provided that the discussion, the management agree to amend. Agree to amend. If not, if the management does not agree to amend, that is the problem arise between auditor and management. Itu dah cerita lain. So dia akan jadi sama ada auditor will issue modified or unmodified audit report. Kalau tak, jadilah macam sebab dinamik. So that when the management does not agree with what auditor's opinion. So that is objective under ISA 330. Overall response will be overall response to risk of material misstatement will be changes to the general audit strategy or reaffirmation to staff at the general audit strategy. So later we will look at what is audit strategy. Audit strategy focus on the direction. How you have you as an auditor, the audit manager will set the audit strategy. The audit strategy dia focus on the scope, timing and direction of an audit. Direction. Direction dia kat sini tadi kita contohlah, kita ada we have inherent risk on the inventory. So inventory, so we know that the direction now
They are
audit strategy. We know that the risk involved here is regarding inherent risk. So inherent risk may be because of the top part is due to the business risk. Kita guna top down approach. Top down approach. So it start with the business risk. Economic, downturn. So sales reduce. Okay, inventory cannot be sold. So now in the preparation of the financial statement, they have a possibility of the inventory valuation. Okay, inventories valuation. Okay, inventories valuation. So, okay, how you are going to set your audit strategy? So now, this is actually the direction, okay, for the auditor. So, what are the direction? Inventories valuation due to the business risk. So, auditor will look at okay, what kind of misstatement? Okay, what kind of misstatement? And then is the inventory material? Okay, what kind of misstatement ni? Nak tengok sama ada misstatement tu come from the accounting estimate. Okay, misstatement is come from the so here whether it come from the accounting policy, whether it's come from the accounts receivable, whether it's come from the internal control. So this is the direction that the auditors must look into. So bila audit managers do the audit strategy, they will assess this one. Sebab itu this happen during the interim audit. Interim audit. Boleh? Audit strategy Any question, class? I short sendiri pula bercakap kan. Class?
Clear for now, madam.
Okay.
No question, madam.
Okay. So, that is the audit strategy. So, emphasize to audit staff to need. So, means if let's say the direction just now, the inventory is regarding the account receivable. So, account receivable tu dekat mana? Is it in Malaysia? Is it UK? Is it Japan? So, you have to allocate the staff which are good experience to handle that thing. And then assigning additional or more experienced staff. If let's say the auditor does not have expertise, you can use expert. Providing more supervision on the audit, incorporating more unpredictability into the audit procedure, and make general changes to the nature, timing, and extent. So yang ni, when you already have a direction. So if you think the direction does not fit with the next procedure, so you have to change your audit plan. Sebab yang ni audit plan. Nature, timing, and extent. Kalau audit strategy, scope, timing, and direction. So you are giving the case study here. Inventory at Brown & Co has been identified as a risk area. This is typically the case due to the often subjective nature. So subjective nature of inventory valuation. So this is considered as inherent risk. Here risk is increased further by quality issue Brown Co has experienced. This is continuation from the previous case. When allocating work on the audit, Joe Price is the auditor, would want to ensure that she is heavily involved in the aspect of the work. So means that if the misstatement, if the misstatement is considered a complex item, complex item, so auditor what kind of auditor should involve. So it's the competence, experience staff. So that is meaning of this situation. Okay, so kat sini Joe Price ni adalah the auditor, the senior auditor in charge. So he or she handle the case. Okay. It would be inappropriate to delegate all aspects of this work to Amelia. Okay. Although she may be able to assist in the collation of information on which her judgment will be based. Okay, so how they put the strategy of the audit regarding the material misstatement. So that is the overall response. Okay. And next, responses to risk or material at the assertion level. So at the assertion level, okay, the ISA says that the auditor shall design and perform further audit procedure whose nature, timing and extent are based upon and are responsive to assess risk of material misstatement at the assertion level. So this is under ISA 330. Okay, so just now I said you have two responses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how you are going to respond? You have, okay, so you have two just now, overall response. We have looked at how you do the overall response and further detailed audit test. Okay, so now okay, responses to risk. Okay, you have overall response and you have detailed test.
Okay.
Okay, when you do overall response, okay, so you have to focus more on audit strategy. Okay, you focus more on audit strategy. Okay, so means that you have to look at on the scope of the material misstatement of the risk, timing of the risk and directions of the risk. Okay, so now we go to the second one. Okay, when you respond to the risk of material misstatement at the assertion level, okay, you have to focus or you have to design and perform further audit procedure. Okay, design and perform the further audit procedures whose nature, timing and extent are based upon, okay, and are responsive to assess risk of material misstatement. Okay, now here you already know, okay, example just now I give you on the inventory. So inventory here give the direction for you, okay, to identify, okay, whether this is a significant risk. So how you are going to respond? You have to respond by doing the further detail of audit procedure. Okay, further detail of audit procedure. Okay, okay, this one. Okay, how you respond tadi? Further detail audit procedure. Okay. So when you going to determine what are the detailed audit procedure for the inventory. Okay, for the inventory, you have to focus to two tests. One is TOC, test of control, and another one is substantive test that you have learned in the audit evidence before. Okay, so
Test. Okay.
when you determine the further detail of audit procedure, okay, before that,
TOC.
yeah, one, okay, you have first
Strategy.
plan. Okay, you have first plan the further detail of audit procedures. So you have to determine nature, timing, and extent, okay, of audit procedures. So this one is equal to audit planning. Okay. So
These are equal to
nature, timing, and extent of audit procedure. Boleh? AP is audit procedure. So how you are going to determine the nature, timing, and extent? Okay, you have to perform two tests. Okay, test of control,
how I
and you have substantive test.
substantive.
Okay. So now we look at detail. Okay, what is the test of control? Actually, you are going to look at on the effectiveness of the operation. Okay, effectiveness of the operation. That's why I said just now, okay, whether the inventory ini, okay, is because the accounting policy, the misstatement tadi happen, is because of the account receivable or is because of the internal control system. So if it is because of the internal control system, this is the direction, the direction. So after you get the direction, then you have to determine the extent. So what is the extent? If it is internal control system, what is the extent? What next? What next? Macam tu, you kena tanya what next. In audit ni macam tu lah. Until you get the sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So what is the next thing you have to do regarding the internal control system? So if it is internal control system, okay, you have to perform the test of control because you are going to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence as to operating effectiveness of relevant control. So you are going to assess the expectation that the control are operating effectively, or if it because of the accounting policy. So if it is because of the accounting policy, this one,
Boleh.
can you perform the test of control kalau dia accounting policy yang bermasalah?
Tak boleh. Sebab nak test apa?
Yasmin?
Cannot because
Cannot?
it's the policy itself.
Yes? Come again?
Because it is the policy itself, so the auditor cannot really do anything with it.
Okay. The auditor cannot really do anything. Ya ke tak boleh do anything? Kita auditor tau. Boleh tak buat? If the, katalah contoh the accounting policy, apa contoh accounting policy untuk inventory, Yasmin?
Inventory is recorded lower
Lower
at
bidding.
cost and NRV.
Okay. So now that is the accounting policy stated in the FRS. When at what situation you will look that there is accounting policy in issue in the financial statement?
What do you mean,
Issue.
madam?
What is the
Oh.
issue?
If the inventory is not recorded at lower cost and NRV.
Yes. So bila you identify that, because of the economic downturn tadi, okay, majority or most of the inventories cannot be sold. Agree or Yasmin?
Yes, agree.
So the company might think to lower down the cost, to lower down the price, right?
Yes.
In order to sell it, to maybe to attract people to sell, maybe they put a discount of 75%. Macam sekarang lah kita tengok kan, banyak produk yang dia jual at discount 75%. Okay. So when you see that, is the product is recorded. Recorded. Kita ada isu kat situ whether the company is recorded at a proper accounting policy. Kan? So that is a direction. The direction. So can you do nothing on that accounting policy?
No, we can do something.
No, means that can, right?
Yeah, I mean can.
Yes. Kan? Kita auditor so kita akan tanya so means that that is the potential area of the misstatement. So what should you do next? Okay, so when you do next is the extent. Apa yang kita nak buat? So maybe kita perform the test. So adakah kita perform test of control untuk determine accounting policy? Yes. Good. So mungkin kita tengok juga in terms of the proper decision, okay, proper authorization and so on. Okay. So maybe you can perform test of control and as well as perform the substantive test. Sebab substantive test pula kita nak tengok dokumen dia okay. You have to ask the confirmation, you do all the documentation and so on. So the accounting procedure yang 8 tu so you must be able to use it. So that is the story of planning. Okay, you nampak kat sini tak? How the material misstatement tu you want to settle it in order for you to gather sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Can you see?
Yes.
Boleh tak kelas? Dia sekarang ni I tak boleh nak show the exact sebab kita belajar teori kan, but you have to apa kata to apply to macam mana nak kata you visualize in your mind. Boleh tak?
Faham.
So it means the area I dah bagi contoh inventory. So inventory ni apa berlaku? So there is a potential of misstatement. So you have to ask yourself skeptical. That is skeptical. Okay? You use your professional skepticism. You have to ask, is the accounting policies right? Or if it's not right, okay, what should we do next? What should I do next? Okay, is the account receivable is okay? So you have to be skeptical. So if the accounting policy does not okay, so it might affect account receivable. So what should I do next? So that is the extent of audit procedure. So the extent, okay, whether you want to focus, whether you want to perform both tests, POC, or whether POC and substantive test, or whether you want to focus only on the test of control. So that is the story of audit planning. Later kita akan belajar in detail lah, but you have to understand first the concept of nature, timing and extent of audit procedures. Okay. Okay, 5 minutes break. Nak dah kan?
Dia makan tak?
5 minutes break
Allah.
12:05 kita datang balik.